2025 is set to be a huge year for westerns, so let's break down 10 of the most anticipated western movies and TV shows that are on their way soon. First up, we have Frontier Crucible, a new western featuring an all-star cast that includes Thomas Jane, Armie Hammer, and William H. Macy. Described as Reservoir Dogs meets Bone Tomahawk, Frontier Crucible is based on the 1961 novel Desert Stakeout, with the plot following a former soldier with a tragic past who's thrown into an uneasy alliance with outlaws as they battle the elements and hostiles in a perilous journey across 1870s Arizona. And directing the movie is Travis Mills, a veteran of the genre, having directed countless independent westerns in the past. So the film is currently in post-production, having already wrapped filming in Monument Valley and Arizona, so expect to hear more about Frontier Crucible in the months ahead. Next, we have Killing Faith, an original supernatural western starring Bill Pullman, DeWanda Wise, and Guy Pearce, returning to the genre after his memorable performances in The Proposition and Brimstone. And on this occasion, he plays a faithless widowed physician in 1859, who meets a distressed mother that believes her daughter is possessed, given that everything she touches seems to die. So the skeptical doctor agrees to escort the pair across a plague-ridden desert on a treacherous journey to find a remote preacher, who they hope might be able to help. So expect a cinematic, genre-bending western with lots of action and suspense, which is expected to release sometime this year. Now, easily the most unconventional film coming soon is Tornado, a British Western samurai movie starring the likes of Tim Roth and Jack Lowden. So the movie is directed by John McLean, famous for the underrated 2015 western Slow West. And this time around, the Scottish director wanted to blend the western and samurai genres in a totally original story, set in 1790s Britain following the katana-wielding daughter of a Japanese puppeteer, who seeks revenge against a ruthless criminal gang responsible for the murder of her father. So apparently, the film was heavily inspired by directors Sergio Leone and Akira Kurosawa, and looks to be one of the most unique takes on the western genre in years, releasing in cinemas on May 30th. Also coming soon is The Unholy Trinity, a new western starring Samuel L. Jackson and Pierce Brosnan, following on from his roles in Seraphim Falls and The Sun. Described as a dark revenge tale, the film is set in 1870s Montana, and follows a young man on a mission to fulfill his father's dying wish, of killing the man who framed him for a crime that he didn't commit. This leads him to the remote town of Trinity, where he gets caught up in a conflict between an upstanding sheriff played by Brosnan and a mysterious figure named St. Christopher played by Jackson. So if you're looking for a star-studded traditional western this year, The Unholy Trinity looks like a good bet, and is expected to release soon. Next, we have Horizon: An American Saga Chapter 2, the second part of the ambitious Western film series directed by and starring Kevin Costner. Now, originally, the plan was for Chapter 2 to hit cinemas shortly after the first movie, but when Chapter 1 flopped at the box office, the decision was made to delay the release of the second movie. And since then, Chapter 1 has had a resurgence in popularity via streaming, putting Chapter 2 in a much stronger position, which has already premiered at the Venice Film Festival. And apparently, the second film significantly improves on the first, advancing its numerous storylines and better establishing its many characters. However, for the most part, it's really just more of the same, meaning Chapter 2 will likely be just as divisive as Chapter 1. But for those still invested in the franchise, you'll be happy to hear that Chapter 2 is still expected to release sometime soon, even though the future of Chapter 3 and 4 remains uncertain. Another film coming soon is an official remake of A Fistful of Dollars, the classic Sergio Leone spaghetti western starring Clint Eastwood. And heading up the project is Eurogang Entertainment, consisting of a trio of Hollywood veterans that have previously worked on popular films such as Seven, No Time to Die, and The Departed. Also working on the project is Jolly Film, who produced the original 1964 movie. Now at this stage, it's unclear who will be taking on Eastwood's iconic role, or how faithful the film will be to the original, but all of those details should become clear as development progresses this year. So we'll just have to wait and see if this new take on A Fistful of Dollars can somehow live up to expectations, and deliver something that truly justifies its existence. Up next, we have Wind River Rising, a sequel to the critically acclaimed 2017 neo-western from Yellowstone creator Taylor Sheridan, which starred Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. However, neither will be returning for the sequel, which will instead star Scott Eastwood, Jason Clarke, and Chasky Spencer, alongside Martin Sensmar and Gil Birmingham, who will reprise their original roles for a new story set on the same Wyoming reservation as the first film. And this time around, the plot will focus on a local Native American tracker who's enlisted by the FBI to help solve a series of unsolved murders on the Wind River Reservation, putting him in the middle of a conflict between the authorities and the people of the reserve. And with the film currently in post-production, Wind River Rising should hopefully release sometime before the end of the year. Now, easily the biggest Western TV show on its way this year is The Abandons, an original Netflix series from Kurt Sutter, the creator of Sons of Anarchy and Mayans MC. So as you would expect, the show has an all-star cast that includes Lena Headey, Gillian Anderson, Ryan Hurst, and many more. And the show will be set in 1850s Oregon, following two powerful matriarchs locked in a bitter family feud over a land dispute, similar to the Hatfields and McCoys. So given Sutter's impeccable track record in TV, and Netflix's success with previous Western shows such as Godless and American Primeval, The Abandons has all the potential to be a big hit. The only red flag is that Kurt Sutter made a shock exit from the show weeks before production was scheduled to wrap, reportedly due to creative differences, so it's yet to be seen how that will impact the show and its future. But as it stands, The Abandons is expected to premiere exclusively on Netflix sometime in 2025. Another big upcoming Western is Blood Meridian, an adaptation of Cormac McCarthy's infamous novel of the same name, which has earned the reputation of being unfilmable due to multiple failed attempts in the past. However, this time around, the film looks like it's finally happening, with John Hillcoat set to direct, best known for The Road and The Proposition. There were even plans for McCarthy himself to co-write the screenplay, but following his unfortunate passing, screenwriter John Logan has stepped in to adapt the novel, having previously written films such as Skyfall, Gladiator, and Rango. So it shouldn't be long before we finally see iconic characters like the Judge on the big screen, in a story that follows a 14-year-old boy joining a group of sadistic outlaws on a brutal journey across the American West. Now, there's no casting or filming updates to report as of yet, but with Hillcoat already scouting locations, 2025 should be a big year for Blood Meridian fans. And finally, we have Young Guns 3: Dead or Alive, a new entry in the Young Guns franchise, co-written, directed by and starring Emilio Estevez, reprising his famous role as Billy the Kid. Also returning is Christian Slater and Lou Diamond Phillips, in a plot that will delve deeper into the mysterious later years of the Kid, reuniting the regulators for one last ride in New Mexico, where filming is soon set to take place. However, that's all that's really been announced about the movie so far, but Young Guns 3 clearly has the potential to be a hugely nostalgic, crowd-pleasing Western for longtime fans of the genre. Now, it is important to say that this video by no means covers all the Westerns coming our way soon, so if you're looking for more info on projects such as the new Lonesome Dove or the latest Magnificent 7 remake, you might also want to check out this video breaking down every Western currently in the works.